textbooks that are required for us are: number one is the Introductory Macroeconomics by NCERT class 12, and number two, the Indian Economic Development, that also by NCERT for class 12. So children, I need that each and every one of you to get hold of these two textbooks, and I hope that it is easily available from your local markets. And before we move on to the main syllabus, I think it's better for us, like, straight away we'll start with our project work. Okay children, and this project work, it carries a mark of 20 marks, and you have to be very, very serious with this project work, because it is a project work that will be counted in your final exams. That means when you face your external exams. So don't take it lightly children, but instead you have to give your time to it, so that it'll help you to fetch good marks in your final exams. So thinking about the project work, what I plan is, like, what the major problems that we're facing today, like what you see, like what I see, it might be a topic that might be very interested to you. And I think we'll pick up on this very topic, and the name of the topic is economic impact of the coronavirus, or the COVID-19, on the Indian economy. Like what you've seen children, like this virus in which we are experiencing, it has been affecting us a lot. Okay, so here in this project work, you'll have to write, like, what happened, what effects does this coronavirus had on our country. But before we move on to the main work, or the main part, first you need to write on the introduction first. And on the introduction, okay children, like you need to write on, like, from where does this virus, so to say, come from. Okay, as we all know, like uh, it did start firstly from China, and it did spread through to all the different countries of the world. So on the in the introduction part, you need to write about that. Okay, that means from which country, so on and so forth. And after the introduction, you move on to the next paragraph, and under the next part, you need to write on how does it affect our economy or our country. And yes, the second part, it is the most important part. And under this under the second part, or the second point, you need to include everything. What How does it affect, for example, uh, if you look at our country India, it is divided, or summing our entire economy as a whole, we can group our economy into three important sectors. We have the primary sector, or agriculture, we have the secondary sector, or industry, and we also have the tertiary sector, or the service sector. These three sectors that comprises, or they are the main uh, sectors that exist in our country India. And so based on these three important sectors that we have, we need to write you need to write on how does the this virus affect the primary sector, affect the secondary sector, as well as how does it affect the tertiary sector or the services. If we go on from the first part, that is the primary sector, which comprises of agriculture, I think you can see, like you've seen in the news or in the newspapers, it did really had, so to say, a bad impact on our Indian farmers or agriculturists. I think through the coronavirus, we've been experiencing all these lockdowns and all, which means each and every uh, citizen, okay, they can't go to work, which means the farmers cannot go to the field. And if that happens, what we can say is that crops cannot grow on their own. They need assistance, they need human help. And as such, if you look at the agricultural sector or agricultural output, it was badly affected, which means output has come down. And if output has come down, this has badly had a bad impact on the income of the farmers, which means their profit has reduced. Further, if you look at the industrial sector or manufacturing or industry or the secondary sector, yes, this is another important sector which is badly affected by the virus. How? Yes, I think we've been experiencing like the entire national lockdown earlier, in which no one has or can come out of their home. They have to stay indoors, they have to stay at home, which means industrial workers working in different industries, different companies, they can't go to work. And if that happens, they can produce goods, commodities. So if you look from that part, also output or production coming from the industrial sector will also be affected. So what we can say is that not only the agricultural sector, so also the industrial sector is badly affected through the virus. And talking about the tertiary sector, the same thing happens. Tertiary sector comprises of services. Okay, if we talk about services, we're talking about human labor. Workers can go to work. For example, us teachers can go to work as what we usually do. So if workers can go to their work, the economy as a whole is affected. And so what we can say is that this virus had what how can I put it, had really had a bad impact on the Indian economy, which means our production is affected, profits of our producers is affected, and so many more. And if you talk about another important, not be it the primary sector, the secondary sector, etc., another important thing that the producers face is they can't market the products. Okay. And again, if we go back to the agricultural sector, which comprises mostly of perishable items, fruits, vegetables, okay, they cannot take their products to the markets. And as such, because due to lockdown, most of the products get spoiled. So if that happens, it'll be a huge loss to our producers. So this virus, it did affect the Indian economy to a larger extent.